7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
International superstar, Miss Butter B. Rocker.
You are now tuned in to Butter B Rocker on Transparency Talks Podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Transparency Talks Podcast. I am your girl, Butter B Rocker. Listen, we have an amazing show for you today. But before I bring on my special guest, I do have a couple of announcements. Join me this Friday at Studio Movie Grill. We're having our first Social Friday. This is for all music and anyone in the film and TV industry. We're just going to get up there and network and mix and mingle and everything. So meet us at Studio Movie Grill, 7 p.m., Marietta, Georgia. We want to see you in the building. Also, tickets are available for our next BBR Indie Films, which is on September 25th. We have listed all of our panelists. We have Rio, Duncan, whose real name is Ayrton Foster from the family business, going to be in the building. We also have Young Jock and so many more. So make sure you go and get your tickets. This will sell out. Tickets are available on bbrindiefilms.com. That's BBRINDIE films with an S.com. You can also click on our link, or you can go to Eventbrite under BBR Indie Films Marietta location. So with all that being said, she is a multi-award-winning screenwriter and filmmaker. Can you guys please show some love for Miss Naz Pankey? Hey, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I am doing great. You know, every time I see you, I just have a big smile on my face because your energy is just like infectious.
Thank you. I feel the same way about you. I mean, you are just a loving person, and I'm excited about BBR because when I went, I felt so much love from when I walked in the door. It's just an atmosphere of love, and so I'm excited for this next month for BBR.
Thank you.
I will be in the building.
It's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. It's grown so much that we've moved to a bigger room. So I'm really excited and nervous at the same time. I'm like, Lord, you know, you asked for it. You asked for growth, and we've gotten the growth and everything. So now it's like, okay, I got to fill this room. So I'm excited and anxious at the same time. But that's when you know that it's going to be good when you get
Yes, it's well done. It is really well done. How you highlight the artist, the presentation is organized. People feel loved and welcomed. You can have food while you're there, drinks while you're there. You have the great, the interviews afterwards. You have all that going on, the red carpet. It's just so well organized. I know God is going to continue to make it grow because
Thank you.
That you and your team are putting into it.
I appreciate you saying that, honestly. And she did not get paid to say that, y'all. So thank you.
Say it. Yes, and you have amazing family. Your family, they all work together. I saw everybody working together, and I think that's so beautiful. You know, that's so dope.
I'm so
the sons, everybody's just like really doing their part, and it's just a blessing. God is blessing you so much, and I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I'm definitely family and faith-based on everything that I do. And I do have an amazing support system from my mom to my sister. My sister works behind the scenes, does all of my marketing and all of my products. My mom works the front door. My husband, he's a floater. He can handle from the interviews to taking videos and pictures. The boys, my oldest son comes from Savannah to help from college. And yeah, so it's really cool.
Amazing. I'm just really blessed, and I'm happy for you because you're a blessed person and just a beautiful spirit. So I'm just praying that God will continue to increase your territory, sister.
I receive it. Amen. But today is about you. So I want to start. I like to take everything from the beginning. Can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
From my childhood, or just how I got into filmmaking, or
Whatever you want to let us know about your background.
well, yeah, I'm from the South Bronx, New York. I don't know if anyone hears the accent, but it's still there. So I'm from the
You
South
do.
Bronx, New York, and I'll just skip all my childhood because that stuff is heavy, heavy duty stuff. Grew up during the crack epidemic. My mom was hooked on drugs, crack, and heroin, and I didn't know my dad, and I had an abusive stepdad. So I had a really rough upbringing in the Bronx, fighting just a bunch of stuff in poverty, and dealing with foster care, different things. But I'm going to fast forward and go into how I got into filmmaking and screenwriting, because I think that's what matters, that God led me to where I was supposed to be. So as a single mom, I was living in Connecticut, working 3 jobs. And I was working. One was driving a school bus, bank teller, and and doing like catering, but not the cooking, the breaking up, the setting down. I would do that kind of thing, serving. And I broke my wrist and I couldn't work any of those jobs. And so I got a chance to spend time with my sons, because although I was raising them on my own, I wasn't spending time with them because I was working 3 jobs in a day. I would be working just like around the clock to pay my bills. I lived in Stamford, Connecticut, and I wanted them to grow up in a decent environment, not what I went through and the things that I've seen. Because sometimes when you have your child in certain environments, they can get caught up in certain things. Not saying that it's not in all environments, but it's more prone in certain environments, I'll say that, than others. So I wanted to bring them up and to see something beautiful, to dream big. And I believe that you have to see it to dream it. You don't want a child to walk out and they see filth, they see dirt, they see poverty, they see drug addicts. I wanted my kids to have something different. So I worked around the clock to provide a good life for them. And I broke my wrist and I couldn't do it anymore. And so I went to college, and my reading was on a 3rd grade reading level. Although I had a high school diploma, I had been passed through. And I knew, because I didn't go to school as a kid. I had an addict for a mom, and I stayed home and I took care of my family. So when I went to college, I had to take remedial reading at the lowest level. So they have level 1, 2, 3. I was at level 3. And I was upset because I wanted to get in and get out. I wanted to get in, become a nurse, because you can make money being a nurse, is what I was told. And I wanted to work 1 job so I could spend time with my son. So my goal was to get in, get this degree in this 2-year college, and get out. But I could not read, so I could not take the college level classes. So I started off in remedial reading, and it was just how God moves. At the time, I was so angry. I was upset. I was a fighter. I've had over 200 fights, probably more than that. This is in just my childhood. So I was a fighter, believe it or not, right? Because I don't have any of that in me now. But when I was a kid, so I was so angry at this school, and just, very, very combative. And one day I had flipped out on this lady. I was waiting for a parking space, and my car was here, and the car kind of pulled out like this, and she pulled in. And I just got out the car and started yelling and screaming and calling her all kind of names. And she probably thought I was psychotic. She didn't even look at me. She just started her car and backed out and moved. And I felt really bad afterwards. I felt really bad. So I saw her in the computer lab. I hadn't done my homework. I wasn't doing homework. I was cheating and asking people, or trying to cheat, asking people, oh, can I see your answers? And, just trying to cheat my way through life. Didn't really feel like I could succeed in school, because I hadn't in the past. But I didn't understand, as an adult, that the reason why I didn't succeed was because of my circumstances. I just had that belief that I could not succeed in school. So I saw her in the computer lab, and I went up to her and I said, I want to apologize. And then she looked at me and she said, Miss, I didn't even see you. So I felt like she was trying to take something from me, but she didn't even see me. And it was just something about that moment that I knew, what's wrong with me? I need help. Why am I so angry? Why is it that when I see beautiful young women coming into the school, I don't believe that they really love themselves? I don't believe that it's real, because I didn't know how to love myself. So I had this conversation with God. I just started walking, like, do I want to be here? What am I doing? All I know how to do is roll up my sleeves and work. I don't know this school thing. So I started walking around the school grounds, and I was just praying and talking to God, because the reason why I approached the young lady as well is because I had just went to church and was like, I'm going to start living my life right before God. And then next thing you know, like the next day, I'm cursing this lady out. So I was like, okay, God, I just started talking to God, and God responded. And he was like, see yourself through my eyes until you can love yourself, because I created you perfect. And I was like, okay, I don't know how to do that. But he's like, and my son is excellent. So you strive for excellence. That's all you have to do. And so real talk, I made a promise to God that I was going to strive for excellence. I was going to do my best. I was like, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm going to just try. That's all I did. I went to school. I sat in the front of the class. I sat in the middle where I could be up in the professor's face, and I focused. And after I learned something, I went to the library and I went over it. And I went over it in the shower, and I went to the reading lab, and I went to the writing lab. And I discovered that I loved it. I was like, I can't get enough of reading. I can't get enough of writing. I love this thing that I've never done, that I've never been exposed to. I love it. And so I began to find myself taking all type of writing, and I was able to get out of remedial reading. It took me 3 semesters, because you got to go from semester 3 to, but I was able to get out. But when I got out, I had a whole book written. My book. I had a whole book written about my childhood, and God has started to work on the healing process. I do not owe one dime to college scholarships, grants. I was on the dean's list. I graduated top of my class. I left not owing one dime. And the thing about it, I was so surprised. I said, oh my goodness, I'm not dumb, because I thought I was dumb my whole life. I was like, I could learn. So I changed my major from nursing to TV production and media studies. And when I did that, I had to do an internship. Well, one of the people that I drove Steve Wilcox's kids to school, because I drove a school bus in the town of Darien. So I drove his kids to school every morning, and I would always be on time and, like clockwork. So all the parents respected me. They knew me. And when I needed an internship, he had moved from Chicago to Stamford, Connecticut. They had a studio in Stamford. And he said, give it to her. So I started off working at Steve Wilcox for an internship. And then, I did that for a while, and I ended up applying for a job with Jerry Springer, and I got it in the editing department. And I was like, I'm going to be an editor, because I like to be alone. And it was just such a different way of life, the editing department versus the production department. The production department, everybody's running around doing everything. The editing department, you go up there, it's like the creme de la creme. Good food, your own office, AC. You can move at your own pace. It was a whole different environment. I want to be an editor. And then I ended up going to work for Maury, because one of my friends, she went to work for Maury, but she was applying for a job at Maury. And she told me, you got to come with me. And I was like, but I love it here. And she was like, no, but you got to come with me. You got to come. We got to go together. So I applied for the job, and I got it. She didn't get the job, so we didn't end up going together. And I love working for Maury. And that's how I got into TV production, And then, of course, I had graduated. I had all that going on. It was a blessing. I'm living in Stamford, Connecticut. My kids is doing well. I'm spending time with them. I can walk from my house to the studio. I'm surrounded by 3 beaches in the marina. I'm living a life. This is like paradise for me. But I'm still a single mom with 2 kids, and it's 2 boys at that. And I want my kids to have a dad. So I fell in love, and I packed up and moved to Georgia.
Woo, that was a lot to process.
Yes.
Okay. Let me say this. When I had said, give us a brief history, right? And you said, well, I'm gonna skip past, and I'm gonna just get to how I got to. No, don't ever skip past that. Your beginning is powerful. Your beginning is powerful, and it resonates with so many people that have had to raise their kids on their own, wanted something better. Wow. Yeah. Like I have even a more profound respect for you, seeing or hearing all of the things that you had to do. What I hear in you talking is resilience, determination, like determined. And you should never not tell people that story. Like, seriously.
Thank you. I know we only have a certain amount of time, because I was going to go from the childhood, and I said, oh no, That's going to be a lot.
Yeah, that was
How I
deep.
got right into it. But also in my childhood, I want to say that as a kid, they called me a TV fanatic because we didn't
Mhm,
have anything in our house. It
mhm.
wasn't like when I grew up in the South Bronx, we weren't surrounded by pools, parks, community centers, things like that in the
Right.
Bronx. They were talking about I was born in the 70s. I'm telling my age. So I grew up in the 80s. And we didn't have those things. We had to make our fun on the
Mhm.
block. We had to find ways to enjoy ourselves and to laugh. That's where Double Dutch, opening up the pump, the block parties, and all that stuff came in because there weren't things in my neighborhood like where I could go to a park and just get on a swing and slide and boom. I didn't grow up with that.
Right.
So yeah, so it was just a real dark way to grow. You see your friends, get killed. I've had friends get killed. One boy that I was like crazy about, he's 14 years old, just the wrong place, wrong time. Sweet
Wow.
person. Came to the block one day. I saw his brother screaming out the window, calling his name. He's gone. I mean, it was just a lot of things, a lot of stories like that. And so what I would do was escape and watch television. And my family said, "Oh, you're a TV fanatic." I would watch television, and I didn't like watching the stuff that I had already knew about that I saw every day. I like watching stuff like Little House on the Prairie. I like watching stuff like All My Children, and where I could see how other people lived, and I saw that there was another way of life, because when you're young like that and you're growing up in that environment, that's really all you see. That's all
Yeah.
you are around. So television was really an escape for me, but it was just something that was in me, a gift that was in me that I didn't even know that God had put in me until I went to college. And I was like, whoa, I love storytelling. I
Right.
love reading. I love writing. I love filmmaking, and when I was in college, I was telling other people's stories. And so it's
Wow.
all working out in our favor. Like God is always working behind the scenes. Our life is a setup. He's working behind the scenes to lead us where we need to
Absolutely.
be. Yes.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay, so you interned with Steve Wilco, then you started editing with Jerry Springer. You got on the Maury Povich show. Can you discuss some of your challenges and rewards of working?
There.
Well, with there, you was an editor, but eventually you moved into screenwriting and producing as well.
Oh,
So
yes.
I want to talk about what those challenges were.
Oh, yes. So screenwriting, let's start with screenwriting. I had really been really, I will say, working for Steve Wilkos, Jerry Springer, The Maury Show prepared me for production because I learned how all pieces work together. But
Hmm.
screenwriting, although I had taken some classes in college, I was not a proficient screenwriter. I wouldn't say I was a professional screenwriter. I was still learning. And so I had an idea for a screenplay. I wrote it. I put it in the Austin Film Festival. It went to the second round. I didn't know how credible the Austin Film Festival was at that time. I just felt like, well, it didn't win, and I wasn't in the finals or the semifinals, so it wasn't good. But it actually was. But the thing is that I didn't understand the structure, how to put things, because they have first act, second act, third act. But it's not just beginning, middle, and end. It's certain things that have to happen. It's certain things that have to be introduced in your storytelling. What is your theme? What is your inciting incident? What is the rise in action? Do you have a clear antagonist? And what does your antagonist want? And all these different things that I just was like, let me just write this story. So I had to learn the elements. I had to learn how to format a screenplay the proper way because it's constantly changing too. So
Yeah.
let me learn this. So I started reading screenwriting books and working on my craft, taking classes and things like that, and got into writing screenplays here in Georgia. And that was something I did while I was raising kids because my ex-husband, he's not my ex-husband now, he had two girls and I had my two sons. So it was like I'm taking care of a whole family and his dad. So I was like, okay, well, I have to. And writing was something I did for me. I spent a lot of time in the office by myself writing and learning and growing. And that's how it started. So how I got into filmmaking here in Atlanta in production is I joined a 48-hour film project. And I signed up for it. And I was like, we're going to do this thing. And so the people around me thought it was a joke. I guess they thought it was going to be this little production, but it ended up being this real huge production. I went to the Southeastern Railroad Museum in Duluth, and it's amazing. They shoot big productions there, and I went in there and I was like, I need to use this space to film. And I spoke to the owner, and God just showed me favor, and she said yes. So I got that place. And then a friend of mine said, I'll take care of the food, Naz. I said, okay. I said, well, I have to get the actors. So I literally went on every casting site. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I need to get these actors. And when I had the casting call, I didn't have enough space to hold them at the venue. I had to go outside. Like, actors were literally auditioning in the street because I didn't have space. It was overwhelming when I had that. So I was like, okay, I actually casted 40 actors because I didn't want to turn anybody away. I was like, we don't know what the genre, let's all just do it. So I casted 40 actors. I had 8 PAs. So each PA had 5 actors. And I had 5 special effects makeup artists. I was ready. I had a trailer out there with the food, and I had a trailer for makeup. This was all on their Duluth site with no money. I went on Craigslist. I had this guy who was supposed to do the cinematography and the lights and stuff, and he dropped out last minute because when he realized how big it was, he felt like I was going to take all of the shine. I was like, this is all of us. So he dropped out. I was actually at Disney with my children, and I got the call that he was dropping out. I put an ad on Craigslist. God blessed me with like one of the best lighting people in the world, the best grip and gaffer in the world. I'm talking about, he had everything. We lit the streets up at night. And we started filming that night until the next day. And it was just amazing. And that was my first production. So what happened is I ended up with all of these actors and filmmakers. And I was like, what do I do next? Where do we go from here? You know, we had so much fun. And so I started a meetup group. And my meetup group was called Atlanta Filmmakers Team. That was my group. And so we would get together every week, and we would like write a screenplay. We'll go over it, get feedback and stuff like that. Then we would film and go over it, get feedback. Somebody do the camera work, get feedback. And the point was so that people could get familiar and be comfortable until they grow. They could master their craft and be in a circle of people to make, that we would build each other up and help us hone our skills. So, actors would come in, and we did that thing every week. We were pumping. And so what happened is I had other groups telling me, you better change your name from Atlanta Filmmakers Team. I'm going to sue you. Now, there was nobody called Atlanta Filmmakers. It was another Atlanta Filmmakers, I think, Alliance or something like that. But it was close to their name. But what happened is it was generating so many people because I was doing what God had called me to do. So that's when I changed my name to Beast Mode Entertainment. I changed my name to Beast Mode Entertainment, my company. So it's been 10 years now, Beast Mode Entertainment. And just started going from there. Started working on projects, getting hired. I directed my first feature in 2014, actually. It was a SAG feature, my first. And just went on to direct and produce mostly other people's projects. My projects were always really like, short movies and short things. So, just in 2021, we filmed Gerald's Hands, and that was my personal baby. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk more about Gerald's Hand. What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, my son is autistic, for one. So for me, I know parents are always worried or concerned when they have a child with a disability. What happens when I'm not around? Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to show parents that if you're not around, all kids belong to God, right? That your child belongs to God, and God will take care of your child. And I also wanted to bring awareness to autism, because a lot of people don't know what autism, they don't understand autism, right? It's even though it's been here, it's still very new to a lot of people. So I wanted to bring awareness to autism, and also promote anti-bullying because of what my son had to endure, just being different, right, socially. And so that was the inspiration, just to bring a film to bring awareness. Because as I said, when I was a kid, it wasn't so much about just the storytelling. It was the awareness, like, whoa, this is going on, or people live like this, or these things happen. We learn so much through film and television. We really do. There's so much that we can share and teach people with our gift and our craft and our stories. So that's what I wanted to do with Gerald's Hands. I feel like I did it too.
Yeah, definitely. So, in regards to distribution, what strategies did you use to ensure you reached a wide audience?
When I did, so here's the thing, right? With filmmaking, when you are a filmmaker, it's different from being a screenwriter or a director. You must know how to market and promote. It's so much that goes into the business side of it.
Facts.
So a lot of times as creatives, it's like, oh, I just want to create. And we get a high off of that. We love to create. But now, okay, before you even write the script, you should know how you're going to market it and all that stuff. But when you're a creative, we're not thinking about that. Just, I want to create. So for me, it was very challenging. It was very, very challenging because I was learning a lot. But yeah, I had behind the scene interviews. Just more, I had a billboard, as I was learning, I was doing. As I learned, because that was a part too that I had never done. Even when I was hired to work on projects, I didn't do marketing and social media stuff, and it wasn't. But you have to do that as an independent filmmaker, and
Yeah.
so I would say that I learned a lot of lessons with Gerald's Hands, and the lessons that I learned were hard lessons. But it's a blessing because right now it's on Tubi, it's on Prime, it's on Plex, so it's out there. So I got it
That's
out and I've been promoting it, but I had to learn a lot. And you have to know your spot. For me, my place as a screenwriter is to write my screenplays and sell them and let the bigger companies do that until I have the funds to do it myself, because you need to have the funds and the support to be able to do it when you're talking about independent films.
Yeah, definitely. I
Mm.
jumped right in as well, so I know exactly what you mean. I come from the music world. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna do a film," and I dived head first, into it, and really, it was a wake up call. Like, there's so much behind putting a film together, and then I wrote, direct, starred in it, put my music. It was a lot, but
Yes.
it's something that I wouldn't trade. But it's so much that you have to learn from marketing, all of the things. Once the film is done, there's still so much work that you got to do, and you're
Yes.
like, oh my goodness, dealing with all of the different casts and the personalities. I mean, it was just a lot, some good,
Yes.
some bad, but definitely things that I learned from. So I truly understand what you mean, for
Yes.
sure. What I want to know is, can you give some advice on, you was just talking about you focus on selling your scripts. I want to talk more about that because most of the people that I know don't sell their scripts. So I'm definitely curious on, how do you sell your scripts?
Well, for me, well, I was working as a fire inspector,
Hmm.
and the 17th of January, I said I'm taking a leave of absence because God just was compelling me to do so. So I had really walked away from my screenwriting career at this point. And I went to Sundance the 18th of January, very next day. And I went there and I said, I'm going to sell one of my screenplays. I knew it. I said, I'm going to sell my screenplay. That's why I'm here. And so that is exactly what happened. I pitched, I met a producer. She says, oh, I think it's going to take about a month to read it. My team is busy. I sent her the script. 5 hours later, she said, who else has read this? Just like that. Optioned my screenplay, was able to get an agent. So I have a literary agent because, she brought on an agent to help with the script that I optioned. And I pitched some more of my projects. At first, the agent was like, oh, she wasn't taking me on. But when I pitched more of my projects, she said, oh, it has a lot, it has legs. And so I have a literary agent. So that's just a
Wow.
blessing for me. God knows this is where I need to be. Just write my scripts and get it out there. There are passion projects that I personally want to do and direct. And I feel like when I'm selling my screenplay, that will give me the funds to be able to do that. Because that's the thing too, when you're doing independent filmmaking, you need the funds to do certain things. And I just
Mm.
really have it when I did Gerald's Hands. And so that will give me the funds to do to work on my own passion projects.
Yeah,
That's
for
how
sure.
I'm selling it through my agent. And also, there's so many different, I think they have Stage 32. I have never done it, but you can go on Stage 32 and you can pitch your projects to producers and investors and stuff on agents on stage32.com.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um, Given your experience in various roles from writing, directing, editing, how do you balance these different technical skills and ensure a cohesive final product?
I think I will say what I'm going to say is, and I don't want to sound, I just know that I don't know if it's a black thing. I don't know if it's a black thing, but I know we master a craft. So meaning you do something over and over and over again, you learn what works, what doesn't work, and then you kind of master it.
Right.
Master it. You figure it out and you master it. And I'm not saying that, I just know that that's been my experience just throughout life. So working on all these productions, especially when I had my group and we would come together, working on all these productions week after week after week, back to back to back to back to back. You learn what to do, you learn what not to do, you learn the things that makes it easier on a
Yeah.
set, because it's a lot. And I tell people all the time, each medium, like you as a producer, there's elements as a singer to what you do. There's tempo, there's harmony, there's beats, right? There's rhythm. There's all these different elements that go into it that you need to understand. And that's the same thing with filmmaking, whether you're a cinematographer, you're a director, you're a writer. There's elements to everything in filmmaking, and there are big elements. There's a way to tell a story through the camera. There's a way to tell a story through lighting. There's a way to tell a story through the music. And everything is just so intense and so detailed. And so you just really have to do it over and over and over again and learn it and become a master at your craft. I
Yeah.
consider myself a master at this craft. We filmed Gerald's Hands in 6 days. It probably would have been 5.5 days, but it was just from me going out and working on projects and doing it over and over again. And that is
Mhm.
how I learned. I did learn in school, but there's nothing like hands-on. And then you learn, like I said, what I will tell you makes a production work is pre-production. You have
Mhm.
to be ready ahead of time. You
Yep.
have to allow room for mistakes. You have to prepare. This could happen. So this is plan B if this happened. You don't have your plan B. Okay. Organize. And that is the way that's what makes the production successful. That's what makes the people who work on your production want to come back and work with you again, because
Mhm.
you're taking the time beforehand to prepare for the production. That's
Yeah.
how I really ensure it. And then the editing, all that stuff. People don't like you did a film. You got to go through your edit, your cut. You got to go through your color correction, your color balance, your look, the music score, the sound engineering. Like, it's not just, oh, let me put these clips together. It's like, after that, it's so many different things. The graphics. I mean, it's just boom, boom, boom. It's so much stuff. And then when it gets out of post production, then there's the marketing.
Yep.
It's a lot, and that's why I said, let me just get on and sell it, because these they got big teams, they have people to do that, and then when I can afford to bring on the team, I will do that. But right now, it's just a lot for me to continue to do it on my own, and I'm
Mhm.
at a place right now, Butter Bee Rocker. I'm at a place where I'm enjoying life. And I do things every day that make me happy, because I want to enjoy the journey. I don't want to be so overwhelmed or so chasing a dollar that I miss the gift. I miss the beauty, right? I think about the color purple. I think God gets mad if you walk past a field of purple and don't recognize it. There's so
Right.
much beauty in the process of what we're doing, but it's like just the overwhelmness of doing so much at one time. You miss the beauty, you miss the joy. I don't want to miss the joy.
Yeah.
So I'm just taking my time. I'm creating. I'm falling in love with it all over again. Each day I'm falling in love. And I have good days now that I just said, okay, I don't have to do everything right
Yeah.
now. What does God want me to do in this season? And it's also getting up and praying and asking God,
Mhm.
may your will be done for my life, not what I'm trying to do, because I didn't try to do a whole lot of things. God, may your will be done. in my life, and then I go by that. And that's what we call walk by faith and not by
Yes.
sight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
My final question for you is, can you share any details about any upcoming projects or goals that you have?
Oh, well, I have so many. I have so many. I have two amazing Christmas scripts that I've just completed that I know that is going to go. And I spoke to you about one of them, but and I have a sitcom that I created some years ago, and God is doing some amazing things with. It's called The Super, and I know that that's going to go. And then I have thrillers. I've actually gotten into writing psychological thrillers, believe it or not,
Mm.
because I'm scary. That's why I say, believe it or not, I'm scary. I can't take scare, but I've actually started writing psychological thrillers. So I have one that I've completed. I'm on the second one now, and
Hmm.
I have about three more that I want to write. And then I want to go to my animations, because I have a lot of animations that just how you have these stories you want to tell. Well, I want to get them out and I want to tell them.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
definitely I understand. It's the
yeah.
same. Like, it's so crazy because it's like when you're creative, you just want to create, and you have so many ideas and so many things that you want to get out there. I got so many projects that I want to get out there. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming because it's so much that I want to do. Like, I feel like I'm just at the tip of the iceberg, I'm just getting started type of thing. And
Yes.
so I gotta pace myself, because if I could do a film every day or be creative on something, whether it's writing a film or writing some music or whatever, or even writing my books, it's like I have to do something to be creative, but sometimes I do have to slow down, because I get, I mean, I love it, but I sometimes do be feeling like, okay, maybe I'm doing too much right now. Take a break, feel the beat, enjoy what you already have.
Yes.
You know what I
Enjoy the
mean? So
process. Don't miss that feeling. Don't miss
that's
that
just
blessing.
it.
Don't miss that. And that's another thing too. Like, I start with the people pleasing and letting people put me in a place where they want me to be.
Yeah.
Um, I believe that God wants for us to love ourselves too. And I know coming up, it was like, oh no, think about others before yourself. That's true, but think about yourself too. You
Hmm.
know, and so I want to enjoy this journey that we are on called life, that
Hmm.
God has blessed us to wake up and to see this day. I'm blessed to be on this talk right now with you, to be on Transparency Talk podcast. It's a blessing. It's a blessing for me to be here and
I
to
appreciate
talk to you
you
and
saying
to
that.
know you and to know you. And I thank you for this opportunity, for bringing me on your platform where I can share about, what I have going on, and I can share my life. But I hope that, you know, when you think of me, you'll think of love, because I think that's what's important. And I want to circle back around to your event. When I went to your event for the first time, that's what I felt when I walked through the door. I felt love. I felt peace. That's the environment. And as long as you have that type of environment, it's going to draw people. That's the most important thing. So if we're rushing through stuff, we miss that.
Hmm.
We miss that. So I'm grateful to know you. I'm grateful to be on your show and have this opportunity today that God has given us. And I hope that our talk encourages somebody.
I'm positive that your story and everything you've shared with us is definitely going to impact some other people's lives and everything. I want to take this time to thank you so much for coming on the show, out of your busy schedule. So thank you. And do you have any last words as we wrap up?
I just want to say I have my book, Evergreen Uprooted. Definitely, if you get a chance, it's on Amazon. Promote my book. It's on Amazon. Definitely check it out. It's called Evergreen Uprooted: Memoirs of Secret, about my upbringing in the South Bronx, and just being triumph over adversity. And just, if you get a chance, check it out. You can follow me, nazpankey.com, NAZPANKEY.com. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook, the same, Naz Pankey.
Okay. Well, with that, everybody, we are out of here and we're going to talk to you guys later. All right. Peace out.
God bless. Peace out.
Mm.